on YouTube, so we're going to show you this because I'm going to talk loudly so you can hear me. You see we're out fighting the rain again today. But I wanted to show you this. See, we're cruising, you know, on the low side of the big hole. Just getting outside of Anderson here. And I'm going to show y'all how this gauge is telling me, you know, we got to replace our fuel filter. As soon as we get up on this hill, I'll show you what it's doing. Alright, where are you at there? Alright, there you are. See, there's fuel filter gauge. And that's just cruising, not under any throttle. Then we go to get into it. Stay off the telltales so you can watch it climb. Because it's one more fuel, and then there goes the light. So, this is bad. We must replace. And then of course you let out of it, so, and she'll fall back down. So it just started hitting that last night. So we will, there goes a big hole. We will replace that sucker today and we'll show y'all what we do to do that. What's going on, guys? It's a little chilly out here today in Anderson, South Carolina, but we are going to show y'all. You saw the gauge is saying that our filter is plugged. You can tell it's a dirty girl. There's the two sensors right here. I'm not sure which one reads restriction, but it's time to change. So we are going to show y'all how to change that. Hey, look, it's you looking at yourself and what you need. So of course, I'm gonna apologize for the wind. It's a little windy out here. I hope it's not too bad. Gloves and a rag. Your genuine Paccar fuel filter, something to drain the fuel into. Make sure it's very clean. You don't want any moisture or anything in there. No dirt, obviously, as you're gonna have to put that back in there. Or you can just prime the crap out of it, but trust me, it's already a bitch to prime. Some scissors to cut the top off, whatever you're using. A pick for a seal, and then you have to. You want this wrench, okay? It's whatever this is right here. That's the part number, primary fuel filter wrench. You can get this at Petro, TA, any Rush Truck Center. They're about 35 bucks, but this is what you actually need to take the fuel filter housing off and not crack it. So we'll show you what we're doing. So this is your Paccar fuel filter. This is your primary fuel filter. Your fuel comes in out of your fuel tanks. You can see the arrows. It comes into here, or some people call this a water separator filter. You know, your water's supposed to fall to the bottom, fuel rises to the top because fuel is lighter than water. It sits on top of it. So it comes in here, comes out of here, goes down to here, which I believe this is the primer pump here. Alright. And then as it comes out of that primer pump, it goes over, and I actually found something. You can see, I don't know if I can get y'all in there. You can see that dark spot right there. See that fuel line moving? These two fuel lines here are actually rubbing, and they're made out of some plastic. So I'm actually going to put a small piece of rubber right there so we don't rub a hole there. Anyway, let's get down and dirty. Okay, so there's the sun. So there's your fuel pump. You can see it's gear driven, like the air compressor and the power steering pump. So your fuel lines come into the back right here out of that primer pump. Then they come out of that. They come out of that and it comes up right into here. Right into your housing where your screw-on fuel filter is. And then out of your fuel filter housing here, they come out of here, and this fuel line runs along the top of the intake and supplies your fuel rail right here. And then of course you have your, there's 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for your fuel injectors. This is actually the fuel rail here. This is what you would call the fuel rail. But I'm just kind of guessing here. I don't know exactly how this motor works. I'm a truck driver. Maybe somebody can comment who's a Cummins tech or whatnot. I'll do some reading up on it because I thought this was kind of interesting. See, my curiosity was, I know diesels run with a lot of fuel pressure, and I couldn't see this pump sending that much fuel pressure into this housing when it still has to go through this filter or tear this filter up. Then I found these two lines here that come off the top of the fuel pump, and they run up through here. You can't see it, and they both run into right here. You see there's one and there's two. So I think these two lines here are what actually pressurize the fuel rail to feed the injectors, and it pulses the injectors, or supplies, not pulses the injectors, but supplies the needed fuel pressure to the injector so that they can fire. And then this line here is just that comes in from the fuel filter housing down here into the end of the fuel rail. This is supplying the actual fuel, the volume of fuel. But there again, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a Cummins tech, and I'm not an expert on this motor. But there again, I won't show you guys something or put it on YouTube if I haven't done it myself. Obviously, we're gonna do it. I've changed this filter. This will be the third time now, and I haven't had a problem. So let's get to it. Alrighty guys, we're back at here again. We got you on the hands-free. I'm gonna talk loud, so I don't know if this thing, how good it picks up. So I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just speaking loud so everybody can hear me. So the reason these are a little more difficult than a Davco is you can see a Davco, I'm gonna post a picture in the beginning of this video, sits upright with the bowl on top. Okay, and the fuel lines come out of the bottom of it. So as the fuel lowers, you just stop it, you change your filter, you know, fire it back up, and it never allows any air into the fuel system. Whereas this, the fuel filter is on the bottom and your air lines are at top. So as you start taking this off, you're gonna have air come up into here. That's why it's important to prime these and bleed as much air out of there as you can, so that your motor will start. I would recommend doing this at a truck stop or somewhere where you could get some help if you have a problem and you can't get your truck to run. I wouldn't recommend doing this on the side of the interstate at a rest area. So let's get to it. So first things first, I'm gonna put my gloves on. We're gonna take a rag here and just kind of wipe this thing down a little bit. Blow off whatever dust, you know. You want to try to keep this process as clean as possible because we are talking about your fuel, and heavens knows, you know, because you'll get dirt around here, and we're gonna take this off. So wipe this off if you can. And we got our clip here. That little red tab comes down like that, and then you just press here, little wiggle, off goes that one. Same thing here, give it a little pry, little wiggle, off comes that one. Tuck those bad boys out of the way. Okay. We have our handy dandy drain pan and our handy dandy wrench. Put my drain pan down there. And then what I like to do is I crack this, because if you just take this loose, let me show you. If you just take this loose, this drain right here, see how it starts feeding air? See those air bubbles? Okay, so that just starts sending air up into the top of your fuel filter. So what you do, righty tighty, lefty loosey, don't forget. Get your handy dandy wrench on there, it fits nice and snug. Get it up towards the top. Obviously, she is on there pretty good. This part I always hate because this is plastic, you know. There she goes. And plastic is just, it's touchy.
anytime you're dealing with plastic, break this housing and you will be going to a dealer. So we just nice and easy, take it loose. Not so much that you can't get your wrench back. All right, there it is. Kind of open this. You can tell it's under suction. See, there it goes. And so you can actually see the water molecules in the bottom of that fuel filter. And there she goes, and she'll start draining. So we'll let that do that. Promise I'm not taking a piss on YouTube, guys. Might sound that way, but I'm not. And it seems like a while. See, it's draining into there. We're not making a mess, you know what I mean? That's another thing too, is when you guys do this, have some respect for wherever you're doing it at, and don't make a big mess on their parking lot. First time I did this, I thought, man, it's just feeding fuel out of the fuel tanks. This motherfucker's never gonna drain. But you'll see it, it'll start dropping down. See, I can already see it up here. There she comes. There she goes. I just go ahead and let it drain all the way down. Because you either got to drain it right here or you got to dump it out. This way is a little easier, I think. Less chance of making a mess. And I'm trying to get this done before the reefer kicks back on, because we won't have to pause then, because we got a frozen load. When she kicks on, she's gonna run pretty hard. It'll be noisy, come on. If I had some sweet elevator music, I'd play it for you guys. All right, so we'll just close that off right there. Snug it up a little bit, and then finish taking our housing off. There again, nice and easy with everything, you know. There's no sense in getting in a rush. We ain't got nothing to do today but this filter right here. And there it is, guys. There's your fuel filter. So, take our filter out. Let it drain out a little bit. Just set it in our little bucket of fuel. Pour the rest of our fuel in there. And then I like to take a rag. Let me position you guys a little better here. I like to take a rag and just clean the inside of this bowl out. You know. And if you got some, you know, some non-water based brake clean, you can get the bottom of that bowl cleaned out really good. And this down here in the bottom, where's that at? Come here, you. That right there in the bottom, that little round thing you see, that's actually a heating element. So this is your, okay, so this has got to be for your fuel filter heater, and then this has got to be the switch that is measuring for restriction on the gauge on the dash. Turn that sucker upside down. Any water in there, let it come out and wipe it off. Okay. And we got our pick here. And just kind of come around the outside of that seal, and right off she goes. Set that there. Let's do the unboxing of the fuel filter. The Paccar fuel filter unboxing. Look at that. See? Old filter, new filter. So you just install your new seal here. Pretty self-explanatory, nice and easy. Now look at that. See how it's, you see how it's on that first ridge right there? You can see the groove. I'm sorry. You can see the groove where it needs to set. And you see it'll attempt to sit up right there. You don't want that. So just take your pick carefully now, because you don't want to damage the seal, and just run it all the way to where it sits in that groove. And what I like to do, you don't have to, what I like to do is you take a little diesel fuel and you rub it along the seal. That way it gives it a little bit of a lubrication, so when you're screwing it back up in there, you don't tear this seal. Okay, so there's that. And then you can see, okay, that's all clean up inside the fuel filter housing right there. There's that. Hey, come here, little seal. Now, I'll tell you guys something. It comes with this other seal. Okay? Now, I can't find this seal, saved my life. It's not up inside. I'm not flipping you off, but it's not up inside there. Okay? And when they change it at the service shop, you see what I mean? It doesn't go into here. It doesn't go inside the filter. It doesn't go in there. Obviously, there's nothing on the bottom of that. So, when one of you smart guys are watching this, see, it doesn't go in the bottom of the housing either. It doesn't go in either one of these sensors. This is the only seal I can find. And like I said, it doesn't go up in the nozzle, up inside the fuel filter housing, and it doesn't go in the top of the fuel filter. You can see top of the fuel filter, just a hole, no seal. So hence the reason that seal is not being used. So here we go. We set that in the bottom there. Excuse me, guys, we got a little ahead of ourselves. Take our old filter, we're going to throw it in our box, and we're going to throw the box in the trash. So set that in there, here, and to keep it from getting on the ground, we're just going to set it on our rag, and then, you know, all that will go in the trash. We got our new filter. You can see this flat base here, the flat base, obviously the hole goes up towards the sky. The flat base here sits on that heating element. So you just want to put it in there, make sure it's sitting flat. And it actually doesn't sit on that heating element. There's little shoulders in the bottom of that fuel filter housing, and it puts it right above that heating element. So we got our seal on, we got our new filter in, and what I'm going to do here is actually take that out, and I'm going to fill my housing back up with the fuel. Nice and easy like. And I'm not going to pour all this fuel back in there, because I can already see the water in the bottom of it. There's soot in the bottom of it. So just about 3/4 of the way full, 3/4 of the way full, and then we're gonna leave the rest of that. You can see the grodies in there. We're gonna leave the rest of that in there. Try to keep the cleanest fuel in there as we can. So in goes the filter. Nice and easy. Back up into the housing. thread it on, nice and easy. There again, you want to be, let me reposition you guys. You don't want to cross thread this, so don't get in a big hurry and mess this up, because you'll be having a real bad day. So you want to make sure that it's starting nice and straight, and it should thread up real easy, guys. See, you can still see the seal. See how easy it's turning? If it feels hard to turn, or it even looks a little bit cockeyed, chances are it's trying to cross thread, and you're gonna mess it up. All right, so now we can feel it start getting pressure. This little elbow ridge right here, this little plastic ridge, will sit flush with this fuel filter housing. Wrench. Come on now, you. Itty bitty living room in this big engine compartment. There it goes. This part I always get nervous too, because I'm sure there is a torque spec on this. We don't have it. So you can feel that, seal sliding in there. It's going up against that fuel filter housing. That's why I like to rub a little diesel fuel on there to give it a little lubrication. And just nice and easy with it. Because if you rip that seal, that O-ring seal, well, you're gonna have a leak, or you're gonna get air in there. It's not gonna be good. So you run it up, there it goes. See, it's snug now, it's tight. And all I'm gonna do, reposition my wrench. I'm gonna get on here, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit more. Right about there. I would say no more than about, I don't know, 20 foot-pounds. And then we will make sure that's nice and level there. Fuel filter sitting in there level. You can see it sits on those shoulders there. You want to snug that back up. Plug your sensors back in. Hey, where'd your buddy go? It's your booty, not your beauty. Or is it your booty and not your beauty? I don't know. One click. Two click. And then don't forget to push that little red thing, that little keeper, back up there. And this you just, a little bit up, and it's tight. Now the fun part begins, guys. We're gonna prime this. This can take a minute. We will not take you through this whole process. We will take it through you. We'll take you through it once. Move that out of the way. So come in here. Hey Zeus. There it goes. Now you put your hand down on that pump. You can feel it running. You can feel it doing this thing. This little. Hear how fast it's running? It's priming the fuel system. And you will leave the key on until it stops running. I think it runs for 45 seconds, a minute, something like that. It runs for a little bit. And then we're gonna shut it off. We're gonna turn the key all the way off. And we're gonna do it again. I'd like to do that 4 or 5 times. Completely. Let's just say 5 to be on the safe side. That's what we're gonna do today. Prime and let it really. You can see it's filled up the fuel filter housing. Some guys will tell you don't pour any fuel back in there and just let it prime. You can do that. You don't have to do it exactly my way. I'm just trying to help you guys out, give you an example. Now you can see the fuel primer pump has shut off. Come back to your truck. Turn it off. Maybe let it sit for, I always let mine sit for a couple of seconds, let stuff shut down. Back in, back on, and there it goes. It's running again. Feel it building pressure. Hear the pump get under a load. So it's pressurizing that fuel system. It's priming that fuel system. If you don't prime these, and you don't let that pump force that air out or whatever it's doing. If you just do this once and then you go to start it, this big son of a bitch will not start. You'll be here all day. You'll have to get battery jumpers. It'll be a bad deal. So if you're doing this, do that at least 4 or 5 times and then go to start. So we're gonna let y'all go. We're gonna go through this process and then we're gonna pick you back up when we go to start it. All right, we're back with you. Okay, so we have primed it and we went ahead and did it 6 full times. Okay, where you turn the key on, you let the primer pump run until it is content, until it shuts off. Wait a few seconds, turn it off. There again, apologize for the wind. Turn it back on, let it do that again. 6 times I did it. Now I hope she has a good showing and she starts for me. Shut her down, give it a few seconds. Wait until the little telltale weight thing goes off and fire in the hole. That's all you can do. Like a champ, baby. Like a champ. First startup. Alright, I'm gonna walk back here. I'm gonna have to talk pretty loud because the beast is running. I've awoken her. 6 times priming. Fires up on the first start. No problems. But I gotta go up there and make sure I got no leaks. Make sure I don't see any bubbles coming up through the air filter, or not the air filter, through the fuel filter. Just make sure everything's good. So let's go check. Just let it idle. I don't go giving it throttle and doing all that, and just let her run for a good 10 minutes or whatever. Let her get whatever little bit of air she might still have in her system, and we'll call it good. Now you shouldn't have to change that screw-on fuel filter. This is only about, this fuel filter here only has about 7,000 miles on it. That's the problem with these Paccar fuel filters on these X15s. That's my one complaint, is you're gonna change that fuel filter every about 7,000 miles. Especially, I don't know, with the whole winter blend, maybe it's, because I got about 10,000 out of it. I was getting every service, because I service my truck every 10,000 miles. Between 10 and 13,000 in the summertime, but since winter fuels have been out, it's just been getting dirty like a SOB, so change that fuel filter every 7,000 miles, or when your gauge, you know, is telling you, and then you shouldn't have to change when it gets serviced. By the time it gets time to change it again, it'll be time for the truck to be serviced, and they'll change all the filters obviously then. So let's go make sure our fuel filter gauge is reading good. Watch out, zoom man. Watch out. There, you guys can see that's about where it should sit. My light comes on at 15. Just yesterday it just started hitting 15 enough to send the light on. And by the end of the day I was pushing 18, 19 under heavy load. Now we're sitting right about 4.5, 5, and that's where it'll stay, and it'll ride there. Like I said, when it starts picking the restriction up, when it starts getting dirty, it gets dirty real quick. Because it'll ride right about 5, between 5 and 7, under under a load for the next 7,000 miles, or give or take a 1,000. Alrighty guys, I hope this video helps. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Be careful out there, the crazy